Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Chevy the Entertainer. So I've got a few topics for you today. I was thinking I was not going to have any caffeine because I was feeling pumped up before. Went for a morning run. I did some weights at the outdoor gym with my dog. Why does everything taste like detergent? These goddamn dishwashing tablets from the devil. It's disgusting. I can't stand the taste of detergent. So I've got a lot of topics for you today, but I wrote them on my phone. Okay, the first topic is how important community engagement is, being around people. Work gives meaning. So I had my first day yesterday, my new job, and it was like a high school dynamic. There were so many people around, young people, middle-aged people. And it felt so at peace to be around people again. There's something about just being around people, it just makes your heart feel like it's on fire in a positive way. We're supposed to do that. And think also because we went to primary school and high school and university and all that jazz. So to have just a life of antisocial living, it's not really how we were raised, is it? But obviously it's making some people money that way because when you're staying at home and you're on the internet all the time, all of your actions, all your thoughts and emotions and wonders and dreams are all recorded in some database, and some multi-conglomerate company can tailor these advertisements to you, and then you can purchase all the love and you need. Every desire can be credit card it's for you. So if you think about it, you're making someone happy to be antisocial. You're making someone happy to not have any social life or to go out and see the world and mix with people. Because you're giving them all your information. The most precious thing in this world is information. Like that's why Google are like zillionaires, is because on the surface level, they are a library. But behind the water, the iceberg, the main business model of Google is harvesting information. They've got a profile on every single person that every single old encyclopedia, you know those old encyclopedia kits that everyone used to have, like 20 books? They've got one of those on every single person. They know what hand you like to brush your hair with. They know when you're going to laugh. They know what makes you aroused. They know what makes you fired up. And so it comes down to jury duty, which I was discussing yesterday, or the day before yesterday, on the podcast I didn't upload because it didn't work, because my camera decided to cause heartache for me. I was wondering why that happened. I was trying a different setting on my camera, or maybe because I said some mean things about religion and stuff, that it decided not to work. But yeah, I was saying before I wasn't going to have any caffeine, but the addiction got hold of me. The sweet, sweet, bitter nectar of beautiful coffee beans and cocoa just heated up. That was just delightful. But it comes down to ego and self-esteem too. The reason why I feel the need to drink that coffee is because I want to be entertaining for you. And we all have this strange feeling that if we drink this drug, we'll get more confident, be more charming, be more successful, and I can finally start a family. I can finally buy that Maserati. I can finally go on a helicopter. I can go to Spain. I never tried tapas before. What does squid taste like, from Spain? I've never been yelled at by a Frenchman in France. So I'm thinking, if I have that coffee, I can try frog's leg soup. My goodness, so many things I haven't tried. I never visited my partner's home country. I want to know what it's like to drive and park a car anywhere in Ukraine you like, on the street. I want to know what it's like to smell a market in India. I want to go in the morning, first thing at 5 a.m., go for a jog. As they're setting up the markets, I want to see them. I want to see them in their raw, authentic roots. And I feel like some of the best way to explore a place is when you go for a jog, a morning jog. You get to see, and because the chemicals come in from the running, it enables you to actually see things properly and remember them. I mean, how many holidays have you gone into in life and you don't even remember it? It's just like a blur because you weren't doing an activity that could actually make that memory stay in your mind. Because I think that most of the time we're just kind of hibernating, we're kind of zombified, we're just like in a purgatory. We're kind of just floating through the nothingness and we're not even truly alive. And so most experiences escape us. There could be an elephant on a unicorn and we're just like, whatever, it's not about me, so I don't care. But then today, I was, went for the jog and did some weights, and there were so many people out walking their dogs and young women just out walking, and I got so many, just smiling at people. Just my vibrational frequency was just like, and it just felt right, just going out there and being among people. Yeah, we undervalue its needs because a lot of people are working from home now, and no one's having any parties, and so we just get so used to being a part of machines. We just kind of glued to the couch, and it's uncomfortable. You may say to yourself, "Oh, I'm not like you though. I prefer to be alone." Maybe you think that, but maybe you're comfortable in your misery. Ever thought about that? Maybe you're comfortably numb. And also, things you're not comfortable with doing are the best things for you. If you're really comfortable at selling socks on eBay, if you're really comfortable at answering emails from clients, then maybe that's not something you should be doing all your time. Maybe you've already mastered that art and you should move on to the next chapter. Because we're always supposed to be growing. It comes down to one of my other thoughts, was that there's so much stuff to learn, it's ridiculous. I'm trying to go through DaVinci Resolve. It's a video editing software that my girlfriend worked on. And it's just so convoluted and it's just really humbling. I realize I'm just a pathetic man. Like I'm so uneducated. I'm just a pleb. I'm just a working... Got so much to learn. It makes me think... I wasted a lot of time, like sleeping, watching TV. Could be learning stuff, so much stuff to learn. I feel like we need not enough hours in the day, or maybe there's something wrong. Like we're not really time managing enough to learn everything, because we think once we leave school, then you just keep working and relaxing, that's it. Like most of the time I ask people, what are you doing? What are your plans? Oh, relaxing. I mean, relaxing from what? Obviously you go to your day job, but it shouldn't kill you. You're supposed to work to live. I mean, in South Korea, they live to work. Maybe that's why they're doing well. But I feel like if you have the option to work from home or work in an office, if you have good people at your office, you should go to the office or go to the work environment. Just saying hello in the morning, and this lady I'm working with, she's teaching me. She's Irish, British, Scottish, and French in genetics, and we get on like a house on fire, and it's really nice to talk while you work. I mean, obviously I've got to be careful about that because I can talk too much. But if you look at the big picture, sometimes talking to a lot of work, it can make you happier, and so you stay at your job longer. You don't quit. You don't take as many sick days because your emotional well-being is strong. Of course, you don't want to dilly-dally and just talk nonsense all day, but you have to look at the big picture. And also think about your ego. If you're a leader and you're upset about the staff talking, think about maybe it's more about your idea of pushing your control into others. And you try to run a workplace like it's military, but we're not fighting anyone, okay? And workplace harmony is very, very important for effectiveness. And because if you're charged up from just a good interaction, maybe you can do 10 hours worth of work in 2 hours because you've just had all this dopamine rush and all this creativity and all this energy and all this inspiration that you're no longer just in a hole. I mean, how many times have you been working on a project and because you're in a pessimistic, nihilistic mood, you're just like, you can't solve it, and it just makes you more frustrated, and you just can't get through it, and so it gets harder and harder, and then everything becomes an obstacle, and you start to notice everything in a negative way, and then just every interaction it's a snowball effect. Then you're rude to your staff, and you're rude to people in traffic, and then you're rude to your wife and kids, and then they'll give you bad feedback, and then you start to think that's what the world's like. Yeah, never underestimate the importance of workplace harmony and community. Even just saying hello to people on the street. I say that all the time, but I'm going to say it all the time, because it's bloody important. And I don't know why I sound so Australian on here. I keep saying bloody, and I swear a lot. In real life, I never talk like that. I don't know why I'm being such a try-hard. It makes me sick, because normally I'm actually quite well-spoken and articulate, but when I'm on here, I feel the need to dumb myself down. Okay, here's a good one. Being nice means you'll end up alone, broke, and jaded. So this lady I was talking to yesterday, she had a 2012 Toyota Land Cruiser V6, and it was mint condition, and she lent it to her male friend, and he drove it into a river, and obviously the Land Cruiser was no more. And this woman, she did not discipline this man. She did not punish him. Obviously, she had no insurance, which was her fault to begin with. Why the hell do you have a $30,000 car, not insurance? But this man ripped her off. He never offered to pay her back. He was a soulless dweeb, mature-aged, fully grown man in his 40s, felt the need to rip off this kind, sweet lady, which really, really is shocking, but it's also her fault for being too nice. She's been too agreeable. She never chased him up. She should have gone around his house with them baseball bats and smashed that bastard up, broken his kneecaps. I mean, violence isn't everything, but just a little bit of violence every now and then. Like one time I had this guy owe me money, $350, when I was 16. I was living in Secret Harbour. And my sister's boyfriend at the time is like, let's go fuck this guy up. And I'm like, I don't know. And then, so what happened is, we went round to his parents' house because we didn't know where he lived. And we got a couple of bricks with some notes. And we wrote on the notes, tell Jeffrey, let's say his name was, that Chevy wants his money back. And then we had a second brick with a note on there which said, thank you, with a smiley face. And we chose the smallest window, the bathroom window, because we wanted to cause the least amount of damage. But we had to send a message, because it's not only is it about the money, it's about the principle. If we haven't got principles, what the hell do we have in this world? You got to have some moral integrity. And like that Sweet Dream song, some people want to be abused, because maybe me smashing his windows saved him from getting, someone else could have smashed his face until only the dental records could identify who he is. Because if you're a career con man, one day you're going to step on the wrong toes and someone's going to take you out. That's just how it is. And it's funny because he got his sister involved. They called me up and she was abusing me on the phone, and she was saying, oh, we got the police to monitor the records. And then we found out a woman wrote that note, which was totally wrong, because my sister's boyfriend wrote the notes. And so obviously they're just lying to us. And she kept swearing at us and saying we're bad people. But I mean, it's her brother. She's the one who could have put him stopped him from stealing from people. And the funny thing was, Like we got all dressed up in black, and we got all hyped up because obviously what we're doing is like the most gangster thing we've ever done in our life. I told this story to my girlfriend. She's like, "Oh, you broke a couple of windows, big fucking bad boy." Because she's Ukrainian, she probably just, unless you're like breaking the president's windows and kidnapping his wife, you're not even a hard ass. But yeah, we drove away in his turbo Astra. And he gunned it like never before. Like, manual, it was just as we ran away, and we drove past Singleton, and and we were silent. We got into the car, we just rushed off, like took our balaclavas off, whatever, and it was just like we're just like all silent. It was just like just driving through, and we didn't say anything for like the first 5 minutes. But the moral of the story is, I got my money back. And this guy ended up in jail for arson. He tried to light a bushfire, so he was just a terrible person. He even had like rotten gums. Like, I don't know why I trusted him. I was just a dweeb. I mean, that was my fault for being too trusting. It's like Jordan Peterson. He's not very proud of the Canadian reputation of being too agreeable, because like, can you please stop making love to my wife? I don't appreciate it. I just really appreciate it if you get off her because she's mine, and I want it to myself, So can you please refrain and exit the premises and wipe your feet, Like, you should be like, what the hell? Oh, bloody, how dare you, you bastard. Pull him out by the neck and drag him out. I mean, I always thought it's good to be a gentleman. It's good to be completely loving. Just, everything's fine. You're perfect the way you are. Just relax. But no, sometimes you need to stand up for your rights. You can't just let people roll over and abuse you, because it's not just about you. Maybe you can take it, but the next person, they are so depressed, one little thing is going to take them over the edge. Citizen justice. And this guy, he ended up getting his mum to meet me outside Red Rooster, Meadow Springs, every fortnight to pay back $50 of the money he owed me. He was too scared to meet me himself. But I took the situation too seriously. I remember for a year or so after, whenever I had all these emotions and testosterone blaring, I was hoping I could see him just so I could unload all my years of stress onto him, because I'd be perfectly reasonable. I've never punched anyone before, but I just really wanted to punch this man. He's just a career con artist. I mean, he ended up going to jail, so he probably got... that's good enough karma. But then again, I've heard some people love jail. You got 3 meals a day, got your mates there, got all the drugs you need, you've got things to do, and you've got a community there. I mean, I was thinking about what would jail be like in 2020. If we leave our house, we get arrested, literally past 9 p.m. It's ridiculous. Like the world's strictest city in the world. It was pure hell. I mean, being in prison would have been better. You've got companionship, you've got friendship, you've got exercise, community. Oh, my goodness, I would have just started stealing cars just so I can have some friends. Like I've heard in Christmas time in America, people purposely commit a small crime just so they can get the roast turkey. But yeah, if I never got the inclination to smash that guy's windows, I never would have got the money back. So sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And this lady, right, she let her friend total her car. This car went up in value too, total Land Cruisers. Because the state and federal government have decided to ruin this country just so they can feed their ego and get paid some money from international investors. Total Land Cruisers has gone up in value because the stock take is the issue, because everyone's using the restrictions from the pandemic as an excuse for every single evil corporate deal you can think of. They're using this as the perfect time. Like everyone's stressed out, everyone's drugged up, everyone's antisocial, and they're not talking to their grandmother and their neighbours. Perfect time to weasel in some new restrictions and laws and just tighten their grip on the world. I want the power. The power is mine. Yeah. Because you know what you're thinking? You know what they're thinking? Power is breeding. They get to have their Genghis Khan. They get to spread their genetics to the world. Because if they tailor the world how they like it, they're controlling it. And it's basically like their babies. The world is their babies. The law is their children. And so they get to feel like, I am Zod, kneel before me. Ha, 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 ha. People need to be have some karma. And so this man, I bet you, after he crashed this woman's car, I bet you he kept on just a life of sin. I bet he just abused people. And so now this woman, because she didn't stick up for her rights, she never leaves the house now. Oh, it's also because, all these tyrannical laws in these shops restricting people. But she keeps to herself now. I was like, you got any plans for the weekend? She's like, take my son's dog for a walk, do some baking. And it's not fair because she has a beautiful soul. She's like really interesting to talk to. She's just really flamboyant and just good sense of humor. But she's not sharing that with the world. She's staying isolated. So think about this. You may think there's not that many good people in this world. You know why? It's because they're heartbroken and they're staying at home away from people. And then people don't get to have her. They don't get to see her at football games. They don't get to see her walking in the city, at restaurants, at theatre shows. You know why? So some people start to think that everyone are rude because they're not getting to see the nice people, because nice people are at home. So it skews your perception of reality. And so it's not about you. You may be heartbroken from being too agreeable and have people abuse you, but think about the children. Think about the lost souls out there who are wondering, where'd all the good people go? I'm changing channels, I don't see them on the TV show. So you need to go out there and spread your joy with the world, because you don't realize how much effect you have. Just walking through South Bank, just walking through the shopping mall and smiling and telling a joke with your friend, you can affect someone's day so much. And you don't have to be like a real extroverted, smiley, loudy person. You can be just an intellectual person that just has a story on your face. I mean, you can look at some men and women just walking, and you can just see they're so bright. You can see they've read 1,000 books. You can see they've just told a million jokes. They've got like really good hand-eye coordination. Like they're really good skate. It's interesting. I love watching people's faces. It's one of my favorite activities. And sometimes you can tell 1,000 words just with your face. So just get out there and just be proud of your face, and then you can stop someone from committing suicide just by seeing your beautiful face. They can see the hook nose, the interesting shape, because every action you do is written on your face. And so you're making someone's day just by existing. So please, don't just think about you. Think about someone like me who wants to look at you. I love looking at you. I don't want you to stay at home when I can't see you. And so, unfortunately, if you are a highly agreeable person who's extremely pleasant and forgiving, you will probably end up alone and jaded. And this woman, she just broke up with her husband, had a business together, and she's like in her late 40s, early 50s. I'm like, why are people getting divorced at that age? I mean, obviously, I'm not that experienced in marriage. I mean, 31 years old. I mean, I guess I'm pretty old. Well, compared to, 18-year-olds, I'm old. But it's such a shame. Like, it breaks. But then again, maybe it's for the better. I mean, I've been in a long-term relationship and broken up before, and it's been for the better. But I think some people get divorced and they shouldn't. But particularly if it was during COVID. Katya, she was saying that she hasn't had many friends break up during the restrictions. And that surprised me, but also maybe she knows people like they're just in, they're really tight relationships. But it breaks my heart to think about all the relationships that were run down from the unnecessary of being stuck in a room together all the time. And it's not, even if the government doesn't say, you can leave. What are you talking about? But when you tell someone day in, day out, the world's dangerous, stay at home, how are you supposed to recover from that? How are you ever, Jesus Christ, that's hectic stuff. Like, bro, you're stressing us out. And it's so hard to go back to reality. I mean, there's already enough scary shit out there. I mean, because all these news shows are trying to make you scared all the time. There's bushfires, man. The fucking bushfires are coming. The bushfires are coming. Ah. Or they're like, global warming, fucking global warming, it's coming. Or the serial killers are coming. The gangs, the youth, the hoons, they're going to crash into your house. Watch out for your children have got AIDS, they're going to spread it with you. And there's so much, all they care about is making you scared so they can sell you more vacuum cleaners. And so no wonder people are breaking up, because also it's not encouraged. Look at all this music on television, look at all these movies, all it's like is, yo, I'm a strong, independent person, I don't need no one. All I need is 1,000 clicks on my photos letting me know I'm sexy. Just love me, daddy, love me. It's funny because I'm independent, but you're still reliant on all the services. You think there's going to be poor people out there that you can pay to do all the crap you don't want to do. I mean, if communism comes in, you're going to be poor too, because communism is coming. Like, there's these authors out there that have made a large impact on society, and they're not trying to do it overnight. They're doing it over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. They're infiltrating your subconscious and making you think, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Everyone works for the government. Snitch on your neighbors. Do not have children. To have family means you are pathetic. Just take your medication, do some online shopping, and shut up. But no. It's really nice to get out in the mountains and just not rely on other businesses. And this workplace, I really love it because it's real analog. It doesn't have computers controlling everything. I mean, technology is amazing, but we shouldn't rely on it so much. It's a big world out there. I mean, some of my best memories in my whole life have been just going for a drive with a woman I love to a beautiful nature destination, going camping or going to vineyards, going to Yarra Valley, going to just a simple thing. And you just go to this little restaurant on a hill with all these grapes there, and there's a fireplace, and there's these eccentric country people, and you have this beautiful tablecloth, and you have this home-cooked food, and you have this classical music playing, and you have this marinated grape juice that has this earthy taste to it. And then you just go off and you go to the picnic with this beautiful valley, and there's these strange birds everywhere. And you've got the sun, and you can feel it's the right temperature. It's just the perfect temperature. It's just so sensational. You get all these chemicals in your body. You feel like you're in a French poem. That's reality. That's achievable. You can have that as well. And then you see that look. You see that look in her eyes when she's entertained, and you feel at peace, and there's nowhere else you'd rather be. And that doesn't cost much money. You don't need to be a billionaire to have that. That is achievable. Bread screws you up, makes you lethargic and depressed. So last night, after me and Kati went to look at this apartment, beautiful apartment by the way, all these amenities, fantastic. Went to an Indian restaurant, and it was all going very well. I had the kingfisher, had the goat curry, had the samosa, I had the onion bhaji. That was all fine. The saffron rice, incredible. But when it came down to, we've got a lot of curry left. Maybe we should get some more carbohydrates. Got this started growing some horns, 666. And so I got this garlic naan, and afterwards my night just went downhill, baby. Got that bread brain, got that gluten intoxication. Man, when I have white flour, I start thinking about dark power. I start getting nihilistic. I get less bounce in my step. I start to get all James Dean style posture, just hunched over. Something about bread, something about that modern grain just drives you insane. Think about how much we have bread. I mean, I know Jesus used to eat bread, but it's different now. There's something about it. I just don't trust it. Just get bad vibes. It's bad. It's like a moldy, off, voodoo. It's something sinister about it. And just how much we have it. I see some people. I can see they're so beautiful, but they've got these puffy cheeks. I can see the flowers just come out in their cheeks. It's such a shame, because to be beautiful, it's wonderful. It makes your day. I know I'm really anti-hypersexualization, but I still appreciate beautiful people. I mean, something about a beautiful woman, it's just and you can be beautiful into your 70s. I've seen some women in her 70s and 80s, and they've got such charm, and you can still see they're beautiful, and you can see the stories in their face. You don't have to be hot. You don't have to be sexy. You don't have to be you can be. It's just, you just have to love yourself, and you can't love yourself in some grandiose narcissism, but based on your feedback of others, and because you're proud of yourself and you've given to your community. And then it's written all over you. You've got a glow about you. And then when you see them, you get inspired. So if you can be bothered, I'd really like it if you spend some time thinking about the effect of bread, white bread particularly, and try to minimize that, because especially when you're mixing it with proteins, that alkaline acidic balance, when you're mixing bread with meat and vegetable, with meat particularly, it stops the digestive process, and it makes it harder for your, because think about, we're animals. Inside, even though we've got skin inside us, there's so much going on. All your intestines and your kidneys and your liver. That's insane. We don't think about that stuff. We just shovel things into our mouth, and we don't think about all our babies inside us. All our little tubes and buttons. We've got to think about that stuff. I mean, you don't want to obsess over it. I mean, for a long time, I spent way too much time obsessing over diet. But you just have it in the back of your mind. I could have just not had that naan bread, and I wouldn't have had such a terrible walk after. And then I wanted to go to sleep when I came home because I was on a bread coma. Just fuck you, bread. But that could have been too, because it was too quick. They made that naan bread in 30 seconds. It was insane. I must have just microwaved it. I don't know. Acting confident and natural, you can get away with almost anything. Yeah, I know Americans are really big into confidence. You don't want to fake it, but I think it comes down to loving yourself, from achieving things and being in shape and having good genetics. People appreciate that, because there's so many awkward people now, because a lot of people are socially inept and they never have a real job, and they're spoon-fed everything, they're given everything by their parents, or they just chose an easy life, so they never developed any skill. So if you've actually broken your back, working hard, giving yourself to something, deprived yourself from pleasure, it just makes your whole existence seem more pure and organic and confident, and that's sexy. And people need that. We need to know there's real adults out there who you can trust in times of crisis. If there's a meteor shower, you need to know some people will be able to excel in times of stress. You need to think impulsively and quickly and problem solve. Not just save yourself. Have you seen Miracle Mile? There's this movie about this guy goes to a phone booth and he hears a phone call from someone who works for the government, and he hears about a nuclear attack in Los Angeles, California. And there's an accidental phone call. He's supposed to call his father and say, "Oh my God, the big one, it's coming, the big one, it's coming, nuclear bomb, it's coming." And so he tells everyone in the cafe, and everyone goes nuts, and then all go out, and people start raping and pillaging. I mean, to me, if I was told it's going to be a nuclear bomb attacking Brisbane in the next 24 hours, I'm not going to start raping and pillaging. I'm going to start thinking about logically, like, look, how can we save these people? Is this source credible? We've got to think logically about this. And also, do I need to be saved? Should I even bother? But I think it comes down to like experience. If you've actually done a lot of things in your life, you've traveled, you've learned different cultures, you're going to be able to handle stressful situations. Like working in hospitality management, I worked in bar management for a long time and bartending. And when you're working like 10-hour, 12-hour shifts and it's like 5 people lines deep the whole time, and there's aggressive people there, and there's people who smell really bad, people didn't show up, and the managers are getting all the credit, and then all the head managers getting all the credit, and you're getting no credit, and your girlfriend's cheating on you, and you know that you should be studying, and that these are the best years of your life and what you're doing here. But when you do that, it makes you stronger. That's why I'm so glad I wasn't born like a prissy little princess that just had given everything, or prince isn't given everything. Because if you're just spoon-fed everything, you have no character, and they're so miserable. I know people who are born into wealthy families, and they're as miserable, and they're just so cold. They're so lifeless. It's like Joe Rogan talks about how he's really worried about his daughters. He's got like 4 daughters. That's called the warrior's curse, by the way. He's got high testosterone. It's very common actually with fighters that these super alpha men only have daughters. I was thinking maybe it's because they're just way too macho, that if they had sons, their sons would just be like extra macho and get in trouble. So the Mother Nature or God, whatever, is trying to teach them a lesson by saying, you need to be more feminine, bro. Because like David Bowie, Mick Jagger, Jim Morrison, all those guys were so popular because I think they had the perfect balance of masculine and feminine traits. Like something beautiful about being in touch with the divine feminine and divine masculine. I mean, I don't mean like just wearing pink tutus and, being bisexual. I mean, like, not just being about like sports and hunting. I think it's good. Like, you should do that. If a man's too feminine, that's wrong too. You shouldn't just be all about sewing and, talking about feelings. You should go out there and lift some weights and go hunt a deer and just hang out with your friends and go skating and say a few cheeky jokes to randoms. It's all necessary. But yeah, I think because of wartime, so this world changes so quickly. It's crazy how we think that just because now when we're rich and comfortable and there's no war, that this is what life's always been like. I mean, most of history has been barbaric. It's been just people trying to take over all the time, and corruption and gossip and people cheating and just sorrow and heartache and starvation. I mean, in Ukraine, they used to eat their own children like the 1930s. It was cannibalism. It was so poor because they killed all the middle class people, and so no one knew how to grow the crops. Communism, baby. So people are struggling to find purpose. Yeah, I had someone message me the other day, an old friend, and she was saying she has an ongoing battle with finding purpose. And I have that too, because I'm just living in this house, just me and Katya, and I don't have any friends, and it's a long time trying to find work, and I did work for a long time, but I couldn't really get in the same wavelength. Like, I talk a lot differently to other people. I mean, I left Perth originally because apparently I was too alternative. And then I come to Melbourne and I find out I'm too country. So I come to Brisbane and then, I don't know, people here is probably the best. Like, dude, every time I go for a walk in the morning, it's insane. Everyone says hello and I want to say hello to them. It's a really good community. It's like a country town, but yeah, it's real good parts of it. 100%. It's a great place. But finding purpose, yeah. I mean, like I was saying the other day, well, that podcast I didn't upload because my goddamn camera didn't work. But we're supposed to be talking to relatives. Look at those Hollywood movies. People go to weddings all the time, and people are always going to backyard parties and going to business meetings. What the hell do we do? I mean, our life's so shit. I think, because let's say you're having a bad day. If you're talking to people then you figure it out. You can't figure everything out on your own. But then again, what I'm saying about social interaction, of course it's important, but I know some people that just constantly socializing, always going to parties, and they can be the most backward people. So of course you got to have balance. Balance, baby. Balance. Get your balance on like it's Donkey Kong, King Kong, whatever. But if you're always going to parties and sinking piss, you're going to be hiding from demons too. You have to spend some time just sitting at home reading books and watching old Cary Grant movies and listening to spiritual podcasts and watching dark comedy. You have to do these things. You have to cook. You can't just spend your whole life party to party to party, because anything too extreme is of detriment. And look at Frank Sinatra. I watched this little documentary about him. He was the biggest singer in the world, but he was worked to death. He had a house, a rich mansion. He didn't even know how to work it properly. And he had like a buzzers, like alarms there to go remind him to his next show. Yeah, he enjoyed his work, but think about this. Are you someone's bitch? Are you just making someone else money? Because you may already have enough money, but you never talk to your family. You haven't worked out since 3 decades ago. You don't even know anything about the world. It's because you're stuck in this little part of your life. Because you're making someone else money, or they got power over you. You should already be self-sufficient. And you can keep telling yourself, no, I love my job, I love my job. No, I love my job. But guess what? You can tell yourself anything. If you're making someone else money, of course, they're going to be like, pat you on the back, and you'll be like a little, I'm a good little girl, I'm a good boy, yeah. But when's the last time you called your son? When's the last time you really went out there and seen how the world's like? When's the last time you listened to some different types of podcasts, and actually be in a state of mind where you can absorb it? Don't be so tired. Don't be so run down so you can't even gain the information. And that bothers me about like veganism and global warming rights and gay rights and trans rights and racial rights and tree rights and rabbit rights. Is that these people, is that they think because they've done this activism, that's all they need to do. They don't need to learn another language. They don't need to look after themselves. They don't need to talk to different people. Their life purpose has been filled. But I think life purpose is so many factors. Like, look at Sims. Sims was such a great game. I love Sims. There's so many facets that being a human being need to fulfill. Just because you're worrying about the chicken rights and you're going down to restaurants and you're screaming people and putting blood all over yourself, even though you've never looked after your own body. So you're basically just like, like this ball of this is ball, and you've just been told what to do. I mean, you're so young and so impressionable. You go to university and they tell you what to do, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing this, but you haven't got any life experience. And who's to say you're more intelligent than everyone in history? It's so arrogant to assume that you can go to a few classes and then it's like, no, I know better than everyone else. The past 30,000 years of human civilization? Pathetic. Me? I know what's up. I am the bee's knees. Oh my goodness. But can you blame them? I mean, not everyone's that bright. And we are very impressionable. Don't forget how easily manipulated you are. We are very, very impressionable. But finding purpose is an ongoing battle. Like yesterday, I was in a pretty good mood after starting a new job. And then, after dinner, I was walking around in South Bank with Katya, and I felt really, really down. I felt like, gee, I wish I could had somewhere to go. I wish we could, I felt like low self-esteem. I felt like, because I couldn't really help her because she's really stressed out and I couldn't really solve that. But what would have been good? If we had some other people to talk to about that. But we just came home and just, so socially isolated. I just wish we had more people to help us to talk about things. And I think I've got things to teach people too. Yeah, so I really, really encourage to have more of a connection to people. And obviously, it's my fault for moving state all the time. I had some good community in Perth for a while, and then moved to Melbourne to Brisbane, Gold Coast to Brisbane, and we spent 5 years in Korea, and yeah, and so it's my fault for moving around a lot, but it's also because of society encouraging people to be apart and just say like, just focus on making more money. Yeah, you're the queen. You're the most important person in the world. Just focus on yourself. Look at your fancy clothes. You can walk around your apartment with your fancy clothes. Look at you. You're a success. You're a success. You got a fancy bag. Look at your Gucci bag. Well, that's all you need in life. What else do you need? You got a fancy bag. You're done. Even though you're all alone and your mum's really overweight and you look miserable. But no, you're perfect. Just keep hugging your bags of gold. But yeah, so I think it's like a 80-20. So it's 80% your responsibility, because if you're in a rich country, you can find information that does give you purpose. And you take chances. You try to go to that bowling club. And you refrain from abusing drugs and alcohol excessively. You eat the right foods at the right timing. Remember? Like yesterday, I was telling this lady about not to have apple with her sandwich. Because when you're having fruit with carbohydrates, it's hard to digest because the sugars and it just should be separate. Forcing your lazy ass to do some deadlifts. So yes, I came home from this new job and I was feeling quite lethargic because it was a new job and I putting my soul into it. And so I sat there for like 15 minutes, just patting my dog. And then I decided, look, be our man. So I got my lazy ass up. I had an espresso with and then I went down and did like half an hour of deadlifts and what do you call it? This thing where you go pick up like 40 kilos of weights and then you deadlift up and then you go. But it's so important because I was watching this interview with Craig Ferguson and Ewan McGregor from 2008. And Ewan McGregor, he's got a handsome face and he's very charming, but you can just see he never ever works out. And that's disgraceful because he could just be so much more handsome and then you're depriving your good looks from the world. And they're a little bit awkward. They're trying to be super funny because they're good charisma, but there was a couple of moments when it was dead air. It just felt like it could have been something better. Because both these gentlemen, if they just so focus on their work and they're not battling the demons inside your body. Like when you lift weights, you're battling the demons inside you. So you're not looking for them out elsewhere. You're not starting these imaginary dramas because you've already exercised your rights. You've already got in touch with your, you just lift that metal. And Joe Rogan said this before, that how everyone he knows who are seriously fucked up in life, they don't work out. I mean, you see Eddie Bravo when he's with Alex Jones, he's so calm. Alex Jones doesn't work out. He's just really stressed out. He's overweight and he's way too emotional in his speeches. With Eddie Bravo, he does like jiu-jitsu and weights and stuff. So he's just like, just his whole demeanor is just so calm. And when someone just has it, their body is like withdrawn and sunken and malnutritioned, it's hard to trust them. Especially if you're in a position of health. Like when Bill Gates tries to tell me how to live my life, he has a pot belly and he looks like a turtle. And I can just tell he's been like having sex with like 16-year-olds all the time. Like, it's so hard for me to respect that someone. But someone looks after themselves, I can respect them. I'm so different from Katya. I'm so different. She looks at me all the time when I'm getting emotional and she's like, "You're a crazy motherfucker." So yeah, Even when you're tired, just do half an hour of exercise. You feel heaps better. Because then, when you walk around the city and stuff, your shirts look better. And what's the point of having $500 shirts, $3,000 pants, $7,000 shoes? But if you just did 20 minutes of exercise, half an hour, 3 times a week, you would look 100 times better. You don't need to externalize and just work your whole life and then just exchange that for these fancy ass clothes that just look terrible on you if you just don't look after your body. It's not that hard. Anything you repeatedly do becomes easier with time. Think about how hard it was when you first started driving or when you first started learning to write. Do you remember holding that pen? It was hard, but now it's second nature. And just don't think about, there's a stereotype that people that lift weights are just jocks. Like, oh yeah, I just beefcake. Yeah, I look at myself in the mirror. I never look at myself in the mirror. I don't even have a mirror. I work out outside. It's no good being in a particularly happy mood if you're around someone who's clinically stressed. So yesterday I was feeling pretty pumped up, but because Katia is really stressed out, it was really inappropriate. So you have to choose when to let those emotions come through. Because if you're in the wrong wavelength, it's just going to fall on deaf ears. No matter what you do, it's very, very hard to hang out with someone if you're on like a different wavelength. So save that energy and don't have more than 1 or 2 drinks if you're just around someone who's really stressed, because you're going to be extra flamboyant and eccentric and it's just going to fall on deaf ears. So it's really a waste. You got to choose, because then maybe you could have hung out with someone else later on a different day or her a different day and it'd be appropriate. But you got to choose. Timing is everything. Like, timing is everything in life. People underestimate the importance of timing. People are too hard on themselves since the overly strict methods of our I meant leaders. I didn't say that right. I wrote it with the intention of making a joke. I was going to be like, refer to, our political leaders and health advisors as gods. I kept thinking about, I want to make a t-shirt that says, Fauci is God. And just walk through Brisbane and see how long it takes before I get stabbed. Because they really are our gods. We worship them like gods. Because we have no religion now. Oh my God, why the hell are these celebrities getting involved with censorship? Why the hell is Jodie Mitchell and all these crappy has-been singers and actors? I mean, actors and singers are basically prostitutes. They lie and they present an image in order to sell products and merchandise. And why the hell are we listening to them when it comes down to health advice and political advice? It really is barbaric, and it's a huge injustice against society. I mean, all these crappy musicians, like has-been musicians, they think that they can have a say and try and dictate our lives. Just shut up and play the guitar. That's what you're there for. Make a what? Pause. What? A pause. Are you saying pause? Yeah. Pause it? Yeah, I can pause it.